Hey Indira and Janelle, it's Christine. It was so good to meet you guys the other day and to hear about the Passion Birthing Project. As a mother myself, of course, and a mother who is a little more into slightly crunchy, I really totally get your mission. I love it, and I think that especially the education component and the accessibility component is just incredibly important to get the word out about. The thing about the accessibility component is we have to get the word out so that the right people are able to hear it. So here's what I'm thinking for you. As I said, I work two main ways. So either you can buy a package of 5 90-minute sessions with the goal of getting you set up to maintain it on your own, to run it on your own. Every session is about getting you more and more competent on your own, so that by session 5, we're kind of reviewing stuff, honestly. I want to make sure you're able to fly on your own. So that 5-session package does require more work on your part, but at the same time, that is a one-time investment of $1,500 for the whole 5 sessions, and you can use them anytime. I say within 3 months, but they don't actually expire. So you can use them at your pace, and the goal is we set you up. They are working sessions, and I'm going to go through my outline of how I see them working for you. But they are working sessions where you are at the machine, you're at the computer, you're at the phone, you're doing things. So by the time we leave our 90 minutes together, things are already a step ahead of where they were before. And then the idea is that we get you set up so that's a springboard so that you're doing more things on your own before the next time we meet, so that the next time we meet, it's not a review, it's a build. There's a little bit of review always, because once you've tried some new things, you probably have some questions, and that's fine. That's built into the process. So the way I see it working with you guys is we have and I'll get into the way I see the potential of the retainer plan in a minute, but the way I would see the 5-session plan working for you guys is, first session, always, I call it the therapy session. So it's about discussing, getting really into who your brand is, how you're presenting it, how it's going to be consistent, what that messaging is going to be, and who you're speaking to and where. And we did talk about that a bit at our first meeting, which is great because that puts us ahead of the game a little bit in a way that I always like to do. So I have a sense of who you are and all that, but we need to turn it into action. How are we going to present this brand? Who are we going to present it to and where? What kind of messaging are we doing? What kind of content are we doing? So there's a lot of talking at the first session, but hopefully by the end of the first session, we do get a chance to hop on there and strengthen your profiles. I know that your Instagram profile is not a business profile, and it should be. There are no disadvantages to being a business profile right now, and it connects to your Facebook page, which is great. I see that you have content up, but it's kind of a little bit all over the place. It is clear in terms of, it's clear what you do. It's clear that it's about birth, it's about education, it's about doulas. So that's very good. It's not a mystery. We just need to make it extra clear why someone would want to take action and how. So that would be session 1, figuring out a lot more action-oriented objectives and strengthening the profiles. And we talk a little bit about content strategy, and hopefully you would have an opportunity to do some of that content strategy, to put some more strategic content out there between meeting 1 and meeting 2. Meeting 2 is all about content strategy. Meeting 2, we're going to put together a content calendar that takes into account not only the type of content we want to put out there in general, but also where we're going to put it, how we're going to package things differently for Instagram versus Facebook, what goes on Instagram versus what goes on Facebook, because there shouldn't just be duplication, different audiences, different conversational structure, all of that. Do we want to get into, say, Twitter or LinkedIn, because you do have that education component, but maybe we want to stick to Facebook and Instagram. We'll probably discuss that at session 1, actually. But once we know where we're going to be and what we're going to be saying there, we'll calendarize it. We'll literally say, you know what, this is a guideline. We will allow for serendipity. That is always a good thing, but at least you will know you have this content going out on these days, or you need to create this content, or you need to find this content. It can include things like content you find elsewhere, where you say, you know what, I'm going to try to post an article that day that I found somewhere. Though again, that can also be off schedule. That's totally fine. Serendipitous moments are built into the content plan. In your case, we had talked about YouTube, so this is a really good time to also figure out what you're going to do on YouTube, what those videos are going to be, and how to make creating them as small a pain in the ass as possible. This should not feel like a whole extra job. That is really key. This should not feel like a whole extra job. So this session will really focus, session 2 will focus very heavily on what content are we making, where are we putting it, how do we keep it organized, how do we figure out how to make it. So that's session 2. That's going to be a doozy. We're going to do some more of that at session 3 because there's no way it's all getting finished on session 2. But again, by session 3, you will have a solid enough amount of content out there that we're going to have user data to find out what is and isn't working. We're going to be able to see what are people responding to, who is responding to it, how are they responding, are they commenting, are they just kind of scrolling by, and that will help us inform what is going to work going forward. In particular, that is when I want to start tightening up the content plan. I want us to be a little more planned. Always serendipity is fine, but I want us to be able to have a more solid plan going forward now that we have data, and a solid plan for how to incorporate that data, how to really look at how do we know what someone's engaging with, how do we know what lessons to draw from that. We're going to talk a lot about that at that session 3, and again, get those content types firmer. In particular, again, the YouTube channel, we're really going to have to get consistent with that. I'm also going to show you how to make graphics. That might ease into session 4 a little bit more. There's a great site called Canva. You may have used Canva already. It's a great site for creating graphics. That's probably going to be part of your content strategy because you do have that education component, first of all. So sometimes you are going to put an infographic or a quote or something of that nature, and we're going to figure out how to make that beautiful and branded. But then also, if you're going to be building your YouTube presence, we need to make sure that your thumbnails aren't just whatever frozen screen YouTube feels like putting on there, because if you're growing a YouTube channel, that is actually a big part of it. Having your branded thumbnails, figuring out how to make sure to ask people to subscribe, those are going to be components of your videos that we need to have if we're going to actually build that strategy. So session 4 is going to basically be a tightening session. Session 5, we need to see how the previous 4 sessions do, what happens, what insights come up during them. I never like planning session 5 from the beginning. Session 5 reveals itself during the process. Session 5 is going to be about anything you've got to do. Session 5 is going to be about looking at the overwhelm. What are your pain points? What's overwhelming you? What are you enjoying doing? And what are people actually responding to? And it's going to be about, cutting out what's not working and what's a pain in the butt for you, or even if it is working, if people love it and you don't, that doesn't work for your life. We got to answer to you. So that's session 5, is just figuring out how are you going to move forward without me? And because I really do want to make sure that you are left in a position to fly. To that end, I do also work on a retainer basis. Retainers are $1,000 a month, and what that is it's one of those 90-minute hands-on sessions per month, but that one is less work on your part than if we were doing the 5-session package. Less work on your part, more work on my part, because I'm directing your strategy. You still have to enact it, but I'm giving you direction. I'm your strategic director, I'm your marketing director, and it's going to be a little more instructional for me, a little more me saying, here's what we're going to do. And it still will incorporate reading the data, responding to it. It also still will incorporate what does and doesn't work with your life. But the fact is, it's a little less of that hard work on your end than the 5-session package would be, because I'm directing your strategy. And then in between, we have an hour-long phone call per month. And honestly, they never go an hour, but you have it. In between, basically the 2-week mark between our 90-minute sessions, where I find out, hey, so we talked about these action items at the last strategy meeting. Where are we at with that? Have you done it? Did it work? Have you run into snags? What are your pain points? And I have to tell you in advance, a lot of times with my clients at that 60-minute phone call in between, they say, oh, life came up, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. And that's a good point for me to remind them, okay, well, if we're going to be able to build on this at the next session, I need you to do it. So it's good, because then we're in a better place by the next session. Or they say, you know what, we tried this and we hit a snag, and I'm there to answer it so that we can get it rolling well by the next time. And so the next time that strategy session I'm able to give you a lot more of an informed strategy session, because it will be based, again, always evolving the strategy based on what has been working and what hasn't. Not only from an audience perspective, but from a your life perspective. So again, that is $1,500 for the 5-session package, which is aimed at teaching you to fly. You got to commit to that work. Or it is $1,000 a month for the retainer package, which involves more strategic direction from me. And a lot of people start with one and go on to the other. Either they start with the 5-session package, and then once they're flying on their own, they're like, I still want your direction, but I see the value of social media now, so I can make that $1,000 a month investment in that. Or they go the other way. They have me on retainer for a little while, and then after a while they do find they're able to fly on their own, and then they drop me and I'm fine. I'm always happy when you can fly on your own. My mission is to educate and to have you able to tell your own story. One thing I will say is whether you wind up working with me or not, I highly encourage you to continue being the ones telling your own story. I don't think you should hire somebody to do your social because your brand is you, your story is you, your knowledge is you. You are the whole value of this organization, and I really feel like the people to present the world of the Passion Birthing Project have to be Indira and Janelle and whoever else you wind up bringing in the future potentially. I don't feel it's something you should farm out personally, but I would really be honored to help you with this journey and to help be your social media doula, to help you birth this brand, this project, because I think people do really need to hear it. And I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.